Some time now, we've been hearing about the Conservative Heritage Foundation's radical plan to reshape the U.S. government and inject it with deeply held ideologies, including Christian nationalism, the next time a conservative wins the presidency. The connection between Project 2025's vision of a Christian autocracy and the likely Republican nominee, Donald Trump, became chillingly clear this week. Trump took the stage at a Christian media convention on Thursday and let loose a string of unsettling remarks, laying bare his intentions for a Christian nationalist government if given another shot at the presidency. He outlined a number of proposals, including restricting transgender rights, including banning gender-affirming surgery, because he referred to it as child mutilation. His rhetoric escalated further as he declared, quote, "No one will be touching the cross of Christ under the Trump administration." In a bizarre comparison, Trump also likened his legal troubles to the crucifixion of Christ. Gesturing as if he were on a cross, he stated, "I take all these arrows for you. I'm being indicted for you." Trump's speech on Thursday echoed the blueprint outlined by Project 2025, which is a multi-million-dollar effort by Trump's allies aimed specifically at overhauling key government agencies in a potential second term. The project's mandate states that freedom is defined by God, not man. The radical plan calls for defunding the Department of Justice, dismantling the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security and Health and Human Services. It also aims to consolidate power by placing agencies like the Federal Communications Commission under direct presidential control. Imagine the effect that will have on government control of media by a man who's already strongly suggested that he will pull media licenses and he will sue and prosecute journalists. Project 2025 also proposes putting the Federal Trade Commission under direct presidential control, a boon to companies that want the freedom to merge and avoid regulations that are designed to protect consumers and a fair market. For months now, Project 2025 has also been vetting Trump loyalists to replace career civil servants throughout the government, including MAGA zealots Stephen Miller and Jeffrey Clark, the latter of whom is charged alongside Donald Trump in the Georgia racketeering case. When it comes to his next running mate, Axios reported in December that the vice presidential shortlist includes the likes of Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and the failed Arizona gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake, a chilling sign that loyalty is being prized above all else. This week, Trump himself also chimed in with a few names of Republicans on his VP shortlist, all people whom will likely demonstrate fealty to him if selected. For more on this, I'm joined by Ruth Ben-Ghiat, an expert on authoritarianism and a professor of history at New York University. She's the author of the Lucid newsletter, which follows threats to democracy, and the important book, Strongmen, Mussolini to the Present. Ruth, it's good to see you. I don't know if you should send flowers or thank you to the Heritage Foundation, because they have put meat on the bones of something you've been talking about for a long time. They've actually got a blueprint for how America goes from being a meritocratic democracy into something entirely different. And they mean it. I mean, this is a real thing. This Project 2025, for people who are unsure about who they want to vote for next time around, it's a real plan.
Oh, yes, it is. And it's very well thought out, and it involves, tens of thousands of people. So the essence of authoritarianism is removing restraints on the leader and making him immune from prosecution by domesticating government. And so some of what Project 2025 proposes, like abolishing the DOJ and the FBI, is designed for that end, to make it impossible to prosecute Trump and allow him to commit crimes with impunity. But there's a bigger point here, because this is huge. They want to abolish lots of government agencies, the Department of Education, Health and Human Services. And so the scale of this leads me to think about the way that authoritarian regimes actually operate, which is if you get rid of a lot of government and then you've got your smaller army of loyalists, it allows the leader and his cronies and his inner circle and his family are often in there. There's talk of Jared Kushner being Secretary of State. They are the ones, a small number of people, who actually run government. And they take away the rights of millions, and it's like a band of cronies And that's the way that authoritarian states actually operate.
I'm glad you just spelled that out, because I left out of the introduction the discussion about the Department of Education and the Department of Commerce, because I'm not sure everybody understands. Like, I don't feel like I interact much with these departments. Why does it matter whether Trump would have them or not have them, or Project 25 would have them or not have them? And I want to really just get into that with you for a second. The idea being that these agencies that in theory are otherwise populated by Senate-approved people who are deemed to have the merit to run them, well, now they'll either be eliminated, or the presidents and the executive branch will make decisions that were otherwise being made by experts.
Well, if you're eliminating whole departments, you're also eliminating those cabinet positions. So you end up with what I describe in Strongmen, which is a structure of governance which allows a band in many places like Putin's Russia, which is a kleptocracy, a band of criminals supported by oligarchs. So there's very big ties inside and outside of government, and they run things. And then the party institutionalizes and circulates the talking points, and the party is also becomes a haven for corrupt people. You need corrupt people to come into power to sustain an autocracy. And Parliament becomes a kind of rubber stamp, and the media is domesticated. And so often people talk about Orban's Hungary as, the model. And there, 85 to 90% of the media is under, either under friends of Orban, as they're known.
It is worth studying this business with Viktor Orban, because he's called for an alliance between Christian nationalists in the United States and Europe, and this is also a part of Project 2025. I'll have you back to talk about that, as always. Thank you, Ruth. Ruth Ben-Ghiat is a professor of history at NYU, author of the Lucid newsletter, and author of the book Strong Men, From Mussolini to the President.
If it makes you feel any better, I have already put evac on alert. He's ready to go if it comes to that.
General, I can assure you.
Hey, General, let me into the war room to see you, so I had to hack my way onto this frequency.
This better be critical, Wheelie.
Sir, come on, when is it not, please? Okay, couple of things. I'm running low on the dough. I was thinking about taking a couple of months sick leave, maybe starting today. And, oh yeah, I intercepted a transmission from Megatron.
Then send it through.
Yes, sir, right away, sir. And so I'll assume that we're going on the other stuff.
This is your last warning, insects. Relinquish what remains of the Allspark.
So who's the insect? You? What? Who's the insect?
Protect you. They were defeated on our world, and we will defeat them here.
This was just a diversion. Security, please bring up. Ravage, he's already inside. Deeds! Give me an update on that reserve. Boss readiness. What was his name? What was it?
Evac, sir.
She's right in front.
We are facing a heavy sustained attack. They appear to be after the Allspark. General, watch out! General! Need this immediately, General. Evacuate. National security advisory.